Forest Ramble mini-match report.
It's the period betwixt Christmas and before going back to work, and we've beaten Leeds 4-2 at home and we're one place off the playoffs. What could possibly go wrong? Well, at the time of recording, Aitor Karanka is still the Forest manager, and as far as I'm concerned, long may that continue. Baz, what did you make of today's victory?
Well, first thing I have to say is, from my point of view, Leeds were by far the best side I've seen us play this season. They were incredibly fast, they pressed us very high up the pitch, they made things really difficult for us, and even with 10 men they seemed to have 4 up front and left us outnumbered in defence all the time.
Yeah, I mean, Leeds is tactical. I mean, that's the thing. What I will say, regardless of what you think about Leeds, the club, and Leeds, the team, is that in Bielsa, surely they've got, never mind in this division, one of the best coaches plying his trade in this country.
Absolutely.
And you could tell that they were extremely well drilled, and just that the speed of thought, never mind the speed of action, of their attacking players in particular, was just outstanding.
Yeah, and they never ever gave us any time on the ball. There was a period in the second half where they were actually rattled, but apart from that bit, we struggled against them, even though we had the extra man and we were at home. It was just
well, yeah, I mean, and as illustrated by the fact that having taken an early lead through a Leeds mistake, they had the man sent off, and surely there can't be any complaints to that. In real time, we were going, that looks like it could be a red.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do much these days in terms of having your foot off the ground for it to be classed as a red. I'm sure that Toby Figueiredo would have something to say about it as well. But then, at the start of the second half, they came out. They didn't change any personnel after the red card, so they just kept 3 at the back. They basically kept the same thing, but with 3 at the back instead of 4. And then they were able to get back in the game through a combination of pressing and the other thing they were really good at was finding space, getting between the lines and getting between our players. And that's kind of what led to both of the goals.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I noticed all the way through was we were outnumbered in defence. They had 10 men, but they would end up with 4 against 3.
Yeah, and that's the thing I remember you saying after they scored their equaliser was, how did they have 4 men against our 3? How were we outnumbered there?
Yeah.
And it was just like this wave of players that comes forward. So fair play to them. But in the end, I think it's fair to say the extra man told, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, we spent a lot of the second half just moving the ball about, and that was obviously to tire them out, and that's what made the difference.
Which, in fairness, is textbook what you should do against 10 men.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, having said that, the goals came as a result of set pieces, which is a nice change. It's notable that our set pieces, our corner taking in particular, the quality hasn't quite been there in the last few weeks. But today, one which Robinson headed at the back stick, it found its way back to the edge of the area, and Colback with his right foot was able to drill it under the keeper. Mm-hmm. And then a really good corner from Osborn, wasn't it? And Murphy, I mean, Bielsa will be really unhappy with the Leeds marking, but Murphy, for a man of his age, to leap like he did and to get that goal was richly deserved. And then the final goal was a proper, total football goal, which, again, down to the fact that Leeds were stretched and tired and chasing the game. Talk us through it as the ball was played forward.
It was a fantastic pass from Murphy, was it, that received it and spilled it out? By
the way, according to Twitter, the Leeds fans on Twitter, it was offside, that goal. So, I mean, he should have handled it instead, shouldn't he?
So he spilt it out to Osborn, who sort of just cut in, beat 2, and then just volleyed it, really.
Well, he had no real right to shoot from where he did, with his right foot into the top corner, because I was just thinking, brilliant, that's a good place to be, but we've got no one in the middle.
Yeah, there's no one there, so he took it.
And we didn't need it. Now, also very interesting is that Aitor Karanka sounded incredibly calm in his post-match interview, which I thought was reassuring.
Unfortunately, because we've got form after beating Leeds 4-2 just after Christmas, when just outside the playoffs, I don't really want to read anything into it at all.
I think basically he's keeping his powder dry, isn't he?
Yeah, and it worries me that even if he survives today, all it's going to take is 2 bad results and he's gone.
But as we were saying, as we were going to the match, is that I think it's quite possible that the style of running the club that we get from having a Greek shipping magnate as our owner and having a Greek chief executive, and I don't know what the dynamic is with having an English chairman, but you were saying that from what we know about Marinakis and the way he runs things generally, but also what we know in terms of cultural things, is that it's very important to kind of have a big show of what's going on, and in that sense, the fact that when results aren't good and Karanka stays quite calm, that might not come across too well to our owner. I mean, it's very difficult to say because we're not party to all of that. Actually, I'm quite glad the club haven't released a statement at any stage because I think that would only add fuel to the fire, whichever way it ends up going. But what I would say is today, Forest showed good composure and they showed a good... You could tell that Karanka had done some work and saying, we need to play differently against these than the approach to recent matches. And I think that showed through, and ultimately it's what got us a result.
The other thing to say is the fans were behind Karanka today. There's a lot of singing for him. I mean, we've said before, there's a lot of singing for him. It's the first time in ages we've sung for a manager. But today there was a lot of it, and there was a lot of noise in support of him. So I'm very pleased to see that as well.